on the app, called me, and we wrote the contract. There you go. Yeah.
One last thing I want to share before we wrap this up, Gary. We did work it out starting not this week, but next.
And I wanted to change topics, and I hope that's okay with everybody. Given what's been going on, I thought that it might be a best practice to chat about what we can do now with everything that's going on, how we can show up in our community, some best practices for working from home, things like that might be, that will hopefully be helpful to everybody. Is that okay?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, so where I want to start really is talking about just logistical best practices for the current situation, right? So we all have buyer clients and we all have listings potentially that we're wondering, maybe what do we do about these, with these clients to make sure that we're doing right by them. So I wanted to start with just some best practices for working with your clients. One, if you have active listings, I would recommend reaching out to your seller clients and asking them if they're comfortable continuing with showings, and asking them if they're giving them the option to pause showings temporarily or continue showings. It's ultimately up to them, right? This is their house. This is strangers essentially coming into their house in who knows what varying degrees of contamination, and we want to make sure that we are respecting our sellers. So if you have active listings, I recommend reaching out to every single one of your sellers and asking them what they want to do. I think that it's always a best practice, if you can, especially if you have listings that are occupied, if you can drop off hand sanitizer or do a note, or create a note for your sellers. Hey, Beth. So Beth, just to catch you up, I changed the topic a little bit, and what we're doing is best practices for working during the current situation. So I'm going to change things up a little bit just so hopefully, I think it's more timely to talk about that instead of anything else. He's so cute. He's so sweet. I read on the internet this morning, they were like, dogs, this is like what dogs look forward to, like everyone being home to hang out for like a week. So yeah. So okay, so what we were talking about is best practices for your current clients. So I was saying, if you have listings or you're going to be taking listings over the next, I would say next couple of months, it looks like. The CDC is saying that you shouldn't be in groups over 50 for at least the next 8 weeks. So I think that this will continue to be a topic of discussion for our clients. And so I think it's important to give your seller clients the option, right? Do they want to show their house given the current climate? Do they want to temporarily pause showings given the current climate? And I would say that one of the things that you can do if you're taking listings during this time is record virtual tours. So I went to one of my listings over the weekend and I recorded a virtual tour of the property just with my cell phone, nothing fancy. I just walked around and went room to room and talked about all the features of the house, and now I have that saved. I'm going to be uploading that onto social media and sending it out to anybody that wants information on the house, but it doesn't want to go and see it in person. So that's best practices for listings. And this might also be something that you would let sellers know, like, if you're still, people have to move usually because of some sort of like personal life decision, right? Like people don't just stop having to move because of this, right? Some people do, if it's just like, I just need a bigger house or whatever it is. But for some people, like they're relocating for a job or there is some reason that they have to sell now. If that's the case, then we just have to help them as best they can navigate the current market. Best practices for buyers. If you're working with buyers, I would, I'll start with saying that it's ultimately up to you with what you feel comfortable with. If you do not feel comfortable going out and showing houses, do not show houses, okay? And maybe that'll be, I don't think that'll be different from what Rosemary and Anna say, but I'm saying it because really, actually I know that they would agree with me, Rosemary and Anna. your health is more important than any 2 weeks worth of business, right? Your health is more important than any one client or one commission check. That is not really the priority right now. So ultimately make the decision if you're comfortable showing houses first. Assuming that you are and you just want to take the best practices for precautions, I would explain to your clients up front that that one, you're not going to shake their hands, right? And this is common best practices that we're seeing on the internet everywhere. But okay, so we're not shaking hands. You want to stay a safe distance from them. Definitely keep hand sanitizer in your car and Clorox wipes. I would recommend that you give your clients a little pep talk if you're showing houses before you go in, saying, listen, we're going to go inside somebody else's house. We don't necessarily know if they're sick, if, like, who knows? From what we can see, you don't know you're sick for up to 2 weeks before it shows up. So best practice is always not to touch anything in the house, right? Like, do not touch anything in the house. If you have clients with small children, please stress to them, it's kids always their inclination to want to like touch. They're in a new house. They want to look at everything. They have, you know, everybody has to keep like hands off. So definitely keep hand sanitizer in your car, obviously, and tell your clients, like, I would appreciate it if you would be mindful. If you're not feeling well, please let me know, and please don't have me schedule showings with you. I would just, you know, appreciate that common courtesy. And I think that most people will ultimately abide by that, right? Right now, our office is putting a pause on any public open houses, which I think is definitely a best practice, because ultimately there is just no way to filter the general public, right? Like, an open house is open to the general public. If somebody was to leave their house sick, I doubt they're going to tell you they're sick when they show up at the front door, even if you ask them. So our current best practice is to halt all open houses. Now, with that being said, what we're working on, and you should receive information on this week, is how we can switch to do virtual open houses. So Rosemary and the admins in the office are looking into different technology platforms where you can actually do a public open house, but all online. So our idea is that anybody who has listings that they want to market, you can do these public open houses, and it will be like 30-minute blocks. So if everybody's promoting this one like block of time together, then in 30-minute increments, anybody that's watching would get to kind of look at all of these different houses, which I think is honestly really cool, and something that even when we're behind this, might be something that we continue doing, because I think that a lot of people are okay with looking at stuff online, and if we can meet them there and kind of give them a virtual tour in that sense, it's always a good practice to do. So stay tuned to your emails, because there'll be information going out on that. And also stay tuned always to our Facebook pages. So we have 3. We have the OP Updates page, Keller Williams OP Updates page. That is our company-wide Facebook page. So that's for all of Rosemary's offices. That is where they are posting tons of information, tons of information, webinars, all sorts of stuff that you can do over the next couple of weeks while a lot of us are working from home. The other thing is the second Facebook group is for your own office. So the Hudson Valley United Facebook group is just for agents in Hudson Valley United. We have a Hudson Valley North Facebook group for our Kingston agents in there. And then the third one, obviously, is our productivity coaching Facebook group. So make sure that you're a member of all of those, and you're keeping an eye on your email. I know that there's a lot of emails going out, but particularly right now, that's our easiest way to communicate with everybody. So make sure you're opening your emails from us and from KWRI. So that is the second thing that I really wanted to cover, is how you can use the next couple of weeks to really lay a foundation for your business, best practices, things that you can do while you're potentially sitting at home to ultimately keep your business moving forward, right? I know for a lot of us, it can feel a little bit of an uncertain time. If buyers and sellers step out of the market, now this is income that will show up over the next 6 months, right? Because we don't sell shoes where somebody walks into a store, buys a pair of shoes, we get paid. If somebody doesn't walk in for 2 weeks, okay, we just need money to cover the 2 weeks. And then the third week, if they walk in and buy a pair of shoes, we get paid. There can be long-standing ripple effects right now for if people decide to ultimately step out of the market. So we want to make sure that what we're doing during this time is using best practices and using our time effectively. So I think that right now, as many of us are probably working from home, I am definitely working from home for the next 2 weeks. I will not be in the office because I don't want to get sick. So that's that. And God forbid I touch something somewhere and then I get other people sick. I would be horrified by that. So I will not be in the office. That being said, we will continue to do our Zooms, our Monday group coaching Zoom. We will continue to do one-on-one coachings, which we're always over the phone anyway, so that shouldn't be a big deal. And I'm preparing and working on putting together additional videos. So I recorded a video on working with buyers that should be out later this week. I'm recording a video on the transaction management process and working with sellers and mock listing presentations, buyer consultations. I have like a list a mile long of things that I want to really help you guys with, so that to make sure that you're still getting the content that you need over the next 2 weeks. Okay. So here's some basics that if you haven't worked on these already, these might be some best practices and things that you focus on over the next couple of weeks while you're home. First thing, have you mastered your listing and your buyer presentation? If you have not mastered your listing and buyer presentation yet, this is an awesome opportunity to really like hunker down and nail and practice and nail those presentations. So the guides, there's 2 guides. One's a listing presentation guide. One is a buyer presentation guide. Both are in Command. You can customize them if you need videos. There's a million videos on YouTube. Jay Cermak, which is CERMAK. He has an awesome YouTube channel where he walks you through using the tech. In addition to Jay, there's Marty Miller, who does the 66-day challenge. And he has tons of videos on how to put together the presentations. That's your first step. Put together the presentation and then practice it, right? Watch videos. Watch a video every day on your list on a listing presentation. There's a million of them on YouTube. There's a million of them on KW Connect. This is a great time to run a very effective schedule, and a lot of it can be like foundational building stuff. So that's my first tip. If you haven't mastered your listing presentation and your buyer consultation yet, focus on that over the next 2 weeks. Spend 20 minutes a day just hammering in those consultations. The second thing is knowing your lead generation strategy. So when all of you onboarded into productivity coaching, you should have created, or if you've been in productivity coaching for a while and you were here for business planning at the end of last year, you should have a lead generation strategy. It's on that 135 document, right? Remember that one? That might be dusty sitting in a drawer now. Take that back out and look at it. And there's a video that I recorded in our productivity coaching resources folder that is how to create a lead generation strategy. So if you don't like yours, or you don't remember what it is, or you don't know where to find it, watch that video again, recreate yours. I walk you through not just how to pick which lead generation strategies you want to master, but then also on the back end behind that, how you really create a lead generation strategy once you pick your lead generation levers. So for instance, if one of your lead generation strategies is open houses, then we talk about, okay, what are the next things you have to really decide when you're thinking about doing open houses? So start there. If this is something you would like to work on over one-on-one coaching, please let me know, and I'd be happy to set that up. That can be something that we discuss. So know your lead generation strategy and plan it out, right? Like if part of your lead generation strategy is farming an area, you have all the time in the world right now to go and create all your postcard templates, your email templates, right? If you're farming an area, the goal is to get in front of them 36 times during the year, or approximately 3 times per month. Sit now for a couple of days and put together what that 36 touch plan looks like. Plan ahead. That way, as soon as the dust settles a little bit and things switch back to normal, you now have this solid foundation that you're just executing on. You're just sitting down and lead generating, and you don't have to do all of this planning time that I know gets caught up in a lot of their heads. I know that it gets caught up in a lot of my heads. I just made a list. Where is my list? Is it on the back of this morning of 25 things that I have said to myself over the past 3 months, oh, I need to get to that. Oh my gosh, I need to get to that. I just don't even have the time to do that. That now I'm going to really be purposeful about putting together. I'm sure you have a similar list that you've been rattling around in your head. Get it down on paper first, and then every single day work on checking that off. Another thing is this is a great opportunity to take some time and really dig into learning and reading, right? So if you have not read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is the cornerstone of pretty much what all of our systems and models here at Keller Williams are based off of, that is a great book to read right now. Another great book to read is the Shift book, which is another Gary Keller book. This is about how to respond in a shifting market and what to do in times when the market shifts. So it's incredibly important right now, because if the market switches back, there is going to be different factors in play than there has been over the past couple of years. So that can be a really important book to read. There's another one if you are doing property investing, right? If the market goes down, you might decide that this is the time where you really build your investment portfolio. There's another Keller Williams book that's called Hold, which is a book written by Linda McKissick in our company, and it's another Gary Keller book about how to buy and hold properties to have long-term rentals, right? When the market shifts, there are opportunities that are created. So what are those opportunities that you're looking to get, and how, and what do you need to learn in order to be able to lean into those opportunities? So talking a little bit about digging into some more learning opportunities, here's some other stuff that will be available to you over the next 2 weeks. One, obviously, KW Connect is always a great resource for you to log on. It's basically like our YouTube for real estate, right? You can log in, and it's documents and videos and information that's uploaded from all of our agents all around the country. And it's all accessible through kwconnect.com or through Command. If you're logged into Command, right in the top left-hand corner, it will say Connect right there. I don't know why my dog is barking. Oh, well. No, my husband keeps going next door to the deli and like buying all this stuff. Anyway, that's a story for a different day. Okay, and every time he leaves, then the dog freaks out. So, all right. So, what was I even saying? KW Connect is a good resource. All right, KW Connect is a great resource to use. Use it. Watch videos. Again, like, don't just watch any old video. Decide with your lead generation strategy, what is it that you need to actually learn, and then dig into those learning resources. Stay tuned to your emails. There are emails going out like every day from KWRI with additional webinars and things that they're offering from a corporate level. So hopefully you all saw the email this morning at 11 a.m. this morning. Gary Keller did a chat with Jay Papazan, who is our VP of learning for the company as a whole, where they talked for close to an hour about how to endure a shifting market and best practices for the current climate that we're in. We posted about it in our Facebook group, but also you should be getting emails from KWRI with this information in it. Make sure you're opening these emails. I know it's a lot, but like, make sure you open it and then put down on your calendar stuff that you're interested in. You don't have to do every single one, but certain ones are really important. Another thing that they just started doing is the Shift book. So that Shift book I just mentioned, they are doing a live through KWRI. They're doing a live book club, basically, and twice a day, there's 15-minute huddles now going through the Shift book. They're at 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. They're only 15 minutes long, so really quick, actionable, bite-sized things. Go into our Facebook groups. The OP updates page, there's information posted there. James Shaw, who is a writer, he's written like The One Thing and some other stuff for Gary Keller, or with Gary Keller and Jay. He is facilitating this, and it's going to be very valuable information. In any market, it's good, valuable information. So that's another thing that you can decide to participate in while we are all working from home. All of our classes on the education calendar. So we have education calendars in both of the market centers. Both calendars are accessible via Zoom. Okay, so any class that's on the education calendar will be accessible via Zoom. and you can take any of the classes that we have. So we still have education opportunities for you locally in our market centers over the next couple of weeks, although we're not doing in-person classes. But quite frankly, I think Zoom is a great way to learn. It's easy. You don't have to drive however long it takes you to get into the market center and then however long it takes you to get back. Like that might save you 20, 30, 40 minutes of time that you can then use to read something else or lead generate. Okay. In addition to that, I think that this is an awesome opportunity to learn command, right? Like, how many of you guys are like me and are like, oh God, there's just so much going on with commands. Like, I don't know where to start, and then I don't know what to do next, and I don't know how to all make it work. I know that I've had feelings of that before too. And actually, when we got back from family reunion, I was so like blown away by all the tech stuff that I was seeing there that I sat for close to 2 days at home and really like dug into command and learned a lot of stuff. And it's a very powerful tool, super powerful. And right now, technology is like going to be driving a lot of things. So this is a great opportunity as we're slowing down over the next couple of weeks to again lay that foundational stuff that you've been meaning to do. Practice your listing and buyer consultations, get your database up and running, learn how to use command and the best practices for using command. Take the classes in the market center that you've been meaning to take. We haven't been able to drive in and take them, right? Use this time as an opportunity. Let me just go through. Okay, so then the last thing that I wanted to go over, and then if you guys have any questions at all, of course, I'm here to help, is best practices for working in your business over the next couple of weeks. So, you know, I'm sure that there's differences of opinion, and I'll just give you mine. I don't necessarily know that this is the best time to be like a pushy salesperson. I don't know that there's ever a great time to be a pushy salesperson, but particularly now, I don't think that now is the right time to be like hounding people to list their house or, you know, telling them that you're a real estate agent, so on and so forth. That being said, there is an opportunity right now to show up in your community just as a member of your community, right? And just as an integral part of the place that you live, right? So the first thing I would ask is, are you a member of the community groups in your town? Every town, I would guess, has a community group. I know that I'm a member of the local one here in New Paltz. If you're not, go in today and find those community groups, or find the community group for the areas in which you want to sell real estate. You know, go in, you don't have to promote your real estate business, but go in and just offer to help people, right? Like, I think that the most powerful thing that you can do right now is just come from contribution and ask people, how can I help you? Is everything okay, right? If you have clients or people in your database or people that you've reached out to over the past couple of weeks and have said, hey, you know, I got my real estate license, or whoever it is, reach out to them and just say, I just wanted to check in. I was thinking about you and I wanted to make sure that everything is okay. Is there anything that I can do to help you right now? That's it. Like, I think that can be very powerful. And at the end of the day, our business is a relationship-based business, right? People work with people that they like. That's a general rule in sales, and it's a relationship-based business. So how can you build relationships with people in your community now where you're coming from contribution and helping out? I know, for instance, in New Paltz, there are a number of efforts that started mainly in this Facebook group that I belong to that were collecting food donations. We're setting up drives so that people can make sure that any children who are now home from school for the next couple of weeks that might not have had food available to them for breakfast and lunch, they organized a community thing to put together so that everybody could donate in that way. There is a big organization in Kingston that has been doing a food drive and collecting non-perishable goods. Those are all things that I'm working on giving back to. There's like a spreadsheet created in the Facebook group of all the restaurants and outlining like what they're doing, what their rules are right now, if things are going on. Do you know what's going on in your community, right? Historically, people rely on their real estate agent to kind of be a connector within the community. It used to be that the real estate agent would be in the corner office, and if you needed a handyman or you were thinking about painting or whatever it was, you would stop into the real estate office and ask their advice. That doesn't really happen so much anymore, but what does happen is that through the power of social media, realtors are really still able to show up in a big way in their community and stay local, right? Like we are helping buyers and sellers locally. We're helping the people in our community with their real estate needs. And everybody that's in your community has to live somewhere. So my question to you would be, how are you going to show up for your community over the next couple of weeks? What can you do to give back to your community over the next couple of weeks? How can you make connections within your community now so that you can show up as a leader in the community or a valuable resource in the community or a connector in the community, right? I think that just those simple things are really how you start to build long-lasting roots in a particular area to ultimately grow your business from. So I always recommend doing this in any market. It's always best practice to show up in your community. But I think in particularly now, it's a good opportunity to give back, show up, and build some connections with the people that live in your area. Those are the type of things that people remember, right? Like people don't necessarily always remember like the postcard you're sending them or the email that they're getting from you. But if you're able, but people do remember like, oh yeah, Rose showed up and was at the food drive with us, you know, collecting food, or Beth, you know, dropped off stuff and helped out for 3 hours delivering meals, or, you know, Eddie was in the Facebook group offering to help people and just, you know, asking what he could do to help, and then he did X, Y, and Z to help. Whatever it is that you need, that you can do to give back to your community, I think that this is an important time for us to all show up really as integral parts of our community as a whole. So, so you can certainly still lead generate as usual, but I would say that you definitely also want to maybe pay particular attention about how you can show up for your neighbors and your friends and family. Like, in addition to just the people that live in your neighborhood, are you reaching out to your friends and family and just checking in, right? Like, just check in with people, see how they're doing, see if there's anything that you can help with. That goes a super long way with, you know, showing people that you care about them, right? And I believe in karma, so I think the good that you put out into the world certainly can come back to you, you know, tenfold. Not that that is your only reason for doing that, but I think it's always, you know, a good practice. Okay, that's what I have on my sheet. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions about anything we went over, or any questions in general about anything right now?
Rita, the two names that you mentioned for the presentations to watch the videos, could you just, I'm driving, so I can't write them down.
Sure, I can text them to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. It's so, and I'll say it again here on the video. It's J-A-Y Cermak, C-E-R-M-A-K. He's on YouTube. And Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, both on YouTube. They have channels where they post tons of tech stuff. Like, I go there and find a video and then watch it and teach. That's how I've taught myself command largely.
Oh, wow. Good stuff. Yeah, great stuff, Rita.
Oh, good.
Hey, Rita, it's Beth. I had a question about the shift. They had mentioned something about seeing if they could get Prime to sell it for free.
Yeah.
Did you hear that when you were on the call?
Yep. Yeah. So I think that that's something that Jay Papazan is working on right now to see if they can make it free for everybody to read through Prime. I only know as much as you know. I heard the same thing. So that's exciting. I don't think it's very expensive. You can buy it through Kindle, but certainly I would guess in the next day or two they should have an answer to us on that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And so again, like, stay tuned to the emails, because that'll be like the best way that you can keep up to date with all the stuff that's going on. There's another Facebook page if you do decide that you want to dig into Command over the next couple of weeks. There's a great Facebook group. It's called Command Your Conversion. There's like over 20,000 Keller Williams agents in it, and it's people that are posting best practices for using the technology. There's tons of ad examples, tutorials, live streams. There's like a ton of really great stuff there. And so I would recommend joining that Facebook group too. And you know, the last point that I'll make is this. Over the next 2 weeks, people are now home, right? Like most people are home. And what do people do when they're sitting at home and they're kind of bored? They go on social media, right? Like they really do. So this is an opportunity for you to show up also on social media to your friends and family. So maybe it's that you post something motivational once a day for people, or you give best practices, or you talk about the community. Maybe you're the person on social media that shares out to what the community is doing as a whole consistently, so that people know how they can give back in their own community. You might be the person that goes on and interacts with people and makes it a job to spend 10 minutes a day just going on to social media and writing comments to people and liking posts and kind of like, you know, engaging with your audience in that manner. I think that there is a lot to be said for where the eyes are going to be shifted to over the next couple of weeks. And I know that as things look like a little doom and gloom to some people, and there's a lot of just like, you know, scary stuff going on social media, there does need to also be like the mixture of lighthearted perspective too, and maybe that could be what you provide on your social media feed. So just something to keep in mind over the next couple of weeks. If there are additional things that you guys would like to do with the productivity coaching program, let me know. And we can put that together. I put out a post about doing like a daily power up with you guys. I got no response, so I'm not doing it, which is fine. That's no problem. But if there's something else that you guys would find valuable, please let me know, and I'm happy to put that together. Hopefully this week I will have out for you an hour-long buyer working with Buyer's Guide. We can try and see. I know on Friday we unfortunately had to cancel the buyer session because we had to cancel the buyer session because I really didn't want to be in a group of people. So we might figure out how we can do that virtually now instead. And we might do like maybe we could do like a mock listing presentation. So whatever would help you guys over the next 2 weeks, shoot me a text, send me an email, call me, and let me know. We can talk about it at one-on-one coaching. Our schedule is the same as always. We will continue to do Monday group coaching, obviously. We will continue to have one-on-one coaching available for you, obviously, over the phone. And anything else that I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. And this includes things outside of selling real estate. So I hope that you all know that I'm not just here as your business partner, but I really have come to love all of you and want the very, very best for all of you as we continue to work through this process. And so if there's anything at all that you need help with, or anything that you're struggling with or anxious about, or just want to run by me, real estate related or not, please know that I am here to be a resource for you in any manner, and I would be more than happy to help however I can. Okay, so does anybody else have any other questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, just one more question. There was one website that you mentioned that I don't think I'm on yet, which is the first one. It's not Hudson Valley United or Productivity. It was OP.
The OP updates. Yep. So that one, hang on. It is, let me see what the exact name is. It's Keller Williams Hudson Valley -OP updates. This is what it looks like, if you can see. Sorry. Yep. So that is the group for our company, all of our offices as a whole. So that's where Rosemary usually posts her announcements and so on and so forth. So go on. That's an important one to be on.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? Anybody else? All right. Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Thank
Stay
you, Rita.
healthy. If there's anything I
Thank
can do,
you.
please let me know. Stay tuned to the Facebook group in your email. We'll continue, pushing out stuff, hopefully valuable things for you over the next couple of weeks. And looking forward to talking to all of you at one-on-one coaching this week. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.